Imagine, it's 1945 and you're living in Axis, Germany. The war is obviously not going well. The countryside is bombed to rubble, and as you sit down for breakfast, you receive a letter from a long-lost friend. As you open the envelope, you find a letter stating that the German Reich is fated for death. This is the end goal for the infamous Operation Cornflakes that happened in the last days of World War II. Propaganda is one of the most effective tools in the Army's tool belt. It's often much easier to just get the other side to want to stop fighting rather than deploying more and more of your own resources to lump up on them, so to say. And there has been very few occasions in history where the ground was more fertile for propaganda than the last days of World War II in Germany. France had fallen, and Russian and American troops were closing in day by day, and it was very clear that Germany was not going to win this war against the world. And the OSS, which later became the CIA, was looking for ways to make it as easy as possible for the Allies whenever Germany did eventually fall, and what they stumbled upon was black propaganda. So there are three basic kinds of propaganda. White propaganda, which is the most common, which is, we're the other side, this is why you suck, ipso facto, give up. Then you have gray propaganda, which is like those hidden radio stations where it's not that clear who this is coming from. And then you have black propaganda, which is made to look like it was produced by a different side than what actually made it. So the OSS workaround on this was to make it look like the propaganda was being sent by other Germans. The propaganda would come disguised seemingly as a letter from a long-lost friend, but whenever it was opened, it would have anti-Nazi propaganda. The letters would be delivered by the German post, and because most Germans got their mail during breakfast, it was dubbed Operation Cornflakes. And so, congratulations, problem solved. The only issue is, this is about as hard of a con to pull as possible. You can't just walk up to a Nazi post office in a t-shirt that says, "Not a spy, please deliver these letters," and expect it to be mission success. But the OSS was committed to making this plan work, and they started by sweeping POW camps for German prisoners who had previously worked in the German post office. And they gave these German prisoners of war extra benefits in the camps in exchange for them showing how the German post office worked and the ins and outs of that mail system. And once they had a much better idea on how the German mail system worked, they decided that the best way to ensure that the mail actually got ingratiated into the actual mail system was to bomb them. Let me explain. So the process that the OSS came up with for ensuring that the letters actually wound up in the German mail system was that they would bomb a mail train and then afterwards drop a specially designed package that contained the counterfeit letters that would eventually, hopefully, be confused for authentic ones amongst all the debris and then be put into the German mail system. So, it wasn't the simplest plan, but And so, with the plan in place, the OSS got to work. More than 2 million random German names and addresses were pulled from a telephone book, and a staff got to writing down the addresses on these counterfeit letters. The first mission of Operation Cornflakes took place on January 5th, 1945, when a mail train to Linz was bombed. Bags containing a total of 3,800 propaganda letters were dropped at the site of the wreck, which were picked up and delivered to Germans by the Postal Service. And within the next year, 20 missions had been completed with a success rate of about 50%, with a total of 320 bags of delivered propaganda. So, was Operation Cornflakes a success? By some definitions, it did get propaganda letters into German homes, so by that definition, 100%. However, the return rate, so to say, on how effective it was to get propaganda mailed to Germans by the German mail system, this may have not been the most, effective program that has ever been ran. By this point in the war, this is what most German homes looked like. There wasn't anything to deliver to, and by the fact of them bombing mail trains, that means that the mail service isn't exactly on the top list of priorities for most people. So while we know as a fact there were several pieces of this Operation Cornflakes counterfeit mail that did go through the German mail system, it wasn't exactly sure how effective it was, and it's presumed that many of the people who actually did get those letters immediately would have disposed of them because, you don't want to be caught in Nazi Germany with anti-Nazi propaganda. And it's by this line of thinking that the famous death head stamps, which are included in the thumbnail of this video, were likely never used in the German post office to deliver a letter for, very obvious reasons. Regardless, Operation Cornflakes is remembered very fondly in stamp collecting circles, as it is one of the few occasions where the counterfeit stamps are worth much more than the authentic ones.